Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings as we do have a wind warning in force for tomorrow and an ice warning in force for this evening. We've got wintry showers in the north of Scotland, or we will be having wintry showers over the course of this evening, and we have had some snowfall overnight over the higher routes and low-lying areas where it may have rained. Temperatures could drop below freezing tonight, so there could be ice issues. And in the southwest, we're seeing low pressure push in. Now, again, it's a very localised low pressure system that has spun up significantly in the last 24 hours or so. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a little bit more long range, we see this named. But given it's coming in tomorrow, I doubt the Met Office will name this system, and it could produce a very small area of extremely intense winds, maybe 80, 90, or even 100 miles per hour is possible in the southwest of England and parts of southern Wales. So a yellow wind warning issue for that, and we'll have a look at that in the video as well. We'll look at the UKV, of course, going through the precipitation and the temperature, and we'll also have a look at the wind gusts, and then, of course, we'll have a look at the longer range, look at the GFS, GEM, ECWF, and the ensembles, as it does continue to remain really uncertain. Today we're seeing the GFS maintain fairly westerly conditions, GEM building higher pressure over the top of us at day 10, and the ECWF again, almost this exact same chart as yesterday, producing easterly winds at day 10 with a big, huge Scandinavian high. Not even just a little one like we have at the moment, a huge Scandinavian high pushing in a real cold air mass in from the east, poised just over in the near continent. So again, hugely contrasting models today, and you'll see in the ensembles as well, there is huge spread, almost 20 degrees spread in the ensemble members beyond day 10. So yeah, a lot of uncertainty as we end November and start December. There is a lot of cold potential there, but also equally quite a few milder or more just generally average sort of runs as well. So have a look at that in the second half of the video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. Remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now if you start on the live radar, you can see there are plenty of showers around, some even quite heavy across parts of northern England, but again, just other showers. Some of them producing some torrential rain within them in central southern England and pushing into parts of Scotland, and of course some of these turning to snow over the higher ground as it's quite cold weekend. You definitely be able to feel it, even low-lying areas further south where it isn't anywhere near freezing, but it's like 7 or 8 degrees, it does feel chilly. Now, that's because we've got a bit of a squeeze from the cold air mass from the west coming out of Greenland and northern Canada, getting warmed up quite significantly by the Atlantic, but it's still relatively cold. And then we've got a very cold air mass pushing in from the east. We're sort of getting squeezed in between it. And you can see that very cold air mass to our east with a lot of snow over parts of Norway, Sweden, Finland, down into parts of Eastern Europe, Germany, Denmark, Poland, these areas. And you can see sort of where the rain snow line is across parts of Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Germany, where the cold air is colliding with that slightly milder wedge that we actually have over the top of us. So yeah, very interesting today. And we will see those temperatures drop quite considerably colder tonight. We're recording this around 3 p.m, and if we do look at the temperatures, you can see it is quite chilly in the north. Look at that, a lot of light blues there, especially over the higher ground, indicating that those temperatures are in and around the freezing mark, or at least low single digits. You can see to our east, across parts of northern Europe, very cold air mass there. All these lighter blues showing those temperatures in and around the freezing mark. Southern England, a little bit milder today, around that sort of 8 to 10 degree mark, but still feeling quite chilly out there. Considerable chill to the air, and yeah, generally colder weekend, and generally a cold week coming up with temperatures in and around average in the day, but overnight dropping down towards freezing. So if you're up early in the morning or late at night, it's going to feel cold out there. It's going to start to feel like winter is really arriving. Nothing truly wintry, but quite cold, frosty, and maybe icy as well. Now, if you go over to the weather warnings, you can see we've got a yellow ice warning across parts of eastern Scotland from 8 p.m. tonight until 9:30 tomorrow. Icy stretches forming along with some fog and freezing fog, leading to difficult travelling conditions. Again, a much drier and colder night than of late, with a frost developing quite widely over Scotland, and ice likely to form on untreated surfaces. The northeast Scotland will see the greatest ice risk, where surfaces are still wet from recent rain and runoff from fields and higher ground. Fog or freezing fog patches are also likely to form overnight, which will add to the difficult travelling conditions. Again, high likelihood, lower end of the impact matrix. So yeah, could be some issues there. And of course, tomorrow we have a wind warning in the southwest of England and parts of southern Ireland. Southern Wales, sorry. A small chance of very strong winds on Monday, causing disruption to travel and utilities from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Again, look at the further details. A complex area of low pressure is expected to develop to the southwest of the UK on Sunday night, with the potential for a small area of very strong winds to affect parts of southwest England and possibly southern Wales during Monday. There's a lot of uncertainty in both the locations affected and the strength of the wind. There's a small chance of 70 to 80 miles per hour affecting coastal areas and 55 to 65 miles per hour, and they will ease from early evening. Again, high impact, low end of the likelihood scale. As we'll see in the UKV in a minute, we're even seeing maybe 90 or 100 miles per hour, but as the Met Office stated here, it's a very complex low pressure system and it's sort of going up and down, very volatile, on even the short range models at only sort of 24 hours away. So yeah, it could be some very stormy conditions in the southwest tonight into tomorrow and during the day. But again, very, very uncertain exactly what happened with that. But if you are in the south and the west, do make sure you keep an eye out on the forecast, and of course keep an eye on Met Office Twitter and their app, as I'm sure they are watching this eagle-eyed, as this could be a very, very severe system, or it could be just an area of stronger winds. All depends on how it develops. It's one of those really localised systems that can spin up very, very quickly. If we do go over to the UKV and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, you'll be able to see that low to our south and our west. Now, of course, we've got those precipitation bands moving through at the moment, generally just showers over the course of this afternoon, and they eventually do ease away over the course of this evening, giving way to clearer skies, a bit of a frost developing in a lot of areas. Cloud appearing from the southwest and big, massive rain pushing in, and look at that hook in it there across parts of southern Irish Sea, and yeah, that's where we will see the strongest winds tomorrow morning. A very severe low could be developing there. A very stormy system in the south and the west, and that will eventually move eastwards and hook into parts of southwest England, and that's where we see the severe winds on the southern side of this low pressure system, as eventually it moves in, sort of losing its strength as it does, and producing quite widespread massive rain really, before eventually just petering away and turning generally into showers. And so yeah, through Monday night into Tuesday, those showers will eventually clear away. A bit of winteriness over northern Scotland, and through Tuesday shouldn't be too bad over there. Yes, some showers around, some winteriness over higher ground in the north, but generally not too bad. Before Tuesday evening into Wednesday, another weather front bumps in, giving us more heavier rain. So through Wednesday evening, we'll see that band eventually clear, for a lot of showers pushing through Wednesday evening into Thursday, and again Thursday we'll have some clearer skies around, but again more heavy showers pushing in from the west, eventually slowly clearing with a bit of a squall line there for England and Wales through early hours of Friday or late Thursday as well. So yeah, very unsettled week and quite a cold week as well, and the reason for that is generally the upper air temperatures are quite considerably colder than average by maybe a degree or two. Or at least a lot more considerably colder than we've had recently, with a lot of air masses in around that sort of freezing to -2, -3 mark. So not cold enough for any widespread snow or anything, but cold enough to give chilly conditions and overnight frosts. If you look at the wind gusts, we'll just have a look at the next 24 hours for that system in the south and the west. So you can see, of course, today we're seeing some areas seeing sort of 40, 50 mile per hour gusts isolated here or there along the coast, but nothing substantial. It's overnight tonight into tomorrow, we see that low appear from the south and the west. Now, initially, it doesn't have that strong winds, maybe 50, 60 mile per hour, but look at it, 5, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., it starts to really spin up, and we could see 100, 115, maybe even higher in western parts, along the southern flank of that low, heading in. Ridiculously strong winds could be seen there in a very localised region, widely 50, 60 mile per hour as the Met Office said, but very locally 70, 80 or 90 or 100 here, and by the afternoon it will eventually peter out and clear. Again, if we see this continue, I wouldn't be surprised if this was named, but I just think because of the timeline and that it's coming tomorrow, I doubt the Met Office will name it. But we'll have to see. Of course, we'll update the title of this video if we do see it be named. But yeah, it could be a very stormy system moving in the southwest tonight into tomorrow. If you look at the max temperatures, you can see today is quite a chilly day generally. Temperatures may be peaking around that 8 to 10 degree mark, and maybe freezing in a couple of areas of Scotland, maybe like freezing 1 or 2 degrees. Overnight tonight, widespread frost developing over parts of Scotland and widely mid to low single digits, if not colder, in parts of England, Wales, and Northern Ireland as well. So yeah, really quite cold night, and into Monday, see many areas waking up to around that sort of freezing mark or a degree around that. So yeah, very cold Monday morning, and by the afternoon those temperatures not rising up too much, maybe 5 to 8 degrees. Some areas really hovering just a couple of degrees above freezing. As we head through Monday evening into Tuesday, you see again overnight very cold, widely mid to low single digits, less towards that freezing mark, a bit more cloud around, but still Scotland and Northern Ireland getting towards the freezing point. So yeah, really cold there. And into Tuesday afternoon, temperatures really again not getting much above 7 or 8, so quite a cold week, as I said, coming up, and across Scotland, hardly getting above freezing. And again, that's similar into Wednesday, early hours of Wednesday, frost in the north, Wednesday afternoon, 8 to 10 degrees again, colder further northwards, and into Thursday overnight, down to mid to low single digits, and Thursday afternoon rising maybe 10 to 12 degrees, so slightly milder there in the south, but still quite cold in the north, and into the early hours of Friday, slightly milder once again, but still chilly in the north. So pretty cold week coming up, a lot of rain around, maybe some snow across northern areas, and of course, very stormy system moving in tomorrow. So we do now go over to the GFS and see what that is showing over the next few weeks. Again, you can see easterly winds trying to be pushing it at the moment, but westerly flow winning out. And you can see those lows to our west spinning up, could give, again, those stormy conditions in the south and the west for eventually the low pressure to clear eastwards. And we go generally quite westerly for this week, but colder, with the jet stream shifted southwards, generally colder air masses involved. But again, nothing substantially cold. Beyond that, as we head into the weekend, still very westerly, veering more southwesterly, so it could go slightly milder, but we're seeing high pressure trying to push towards Scandinavia. We do see blocking developing to our north beyond day 10, ridging trying to get up there, and generally sort of in between air masses, sort of in around average mark, and all the way to 384 hours, we're ridging to our north. High pressure is getting going towards Greenland, but we are generally westerly at this point. We are starting to see those winds veering from the north, cold air masses trying to push in. We're on the cusp of going cold, but all that westerly momentum has to be halted by this high pressure block, which I don't know if it's going to happen, but the indications here of high pressure trying to build in, continuing that blocking trend, but we'll have to see what happens with that. Again, put on the potential equivalent temperatures, very cold air to our north, but again, look at the pressure charts, we have to hold off all this westerly momentum by this block over Greenland. Look over the northern hemisphere, and you can see there is substantial blocking over the North Pole, but we'd have to see this ridge in the North Atlantic really hold off any of the lows exiting Canada. But again, it's something we just need to see what happens with it. Indication though from the GFS today, generally westerly over the next sort of 7 to 10 days, colder at least this week, and in the longer term, the potential for blocking to come back in, but nothing more than just hints at this stage, and potential, no concrete blocking from the GFS today. If we do go over to the GEM, see how that does compare. Again, easterly winds trying to push at the moment. Low pressure spinning in tomorrow. Could be quite a severe low, as I said, in the southwest there. Again, if we actually do zoom in and have a look if we can see that low, you can see, again, across the south coast, that there is that little system developing. But again, it doesn't show up all too much there. So yeah, UKV definitely spinning up quite a lot before eventually all those lows clear eastwards. And we stay fairly unsettled, blocking to our north, but as we develop or go all the way through to day 10, you can see we generally stay westerly for high pressure builds back in. It's trying to bridge to our north, but it's not got very far at this stage, and we are generally under sort of a generally cold high pressure system. Again, it's not ridiculously cold, but the air mass isn't particularly warm, therefore we're likely to see an inversion under it, frost and fog, and generally cold conditions in the day, but nothing substantially cold. So yeah, very interesting, again, seeing that today, completely different to the GFS, which was trying to build blocking to our north, but keeping us very unsettled in the meantime. The GEM, but building high pressure in day 10, again, just highlighting the huge volatility we have at the moment. If we do go to the ECMWF, as I said at the start of the video, producing a huge Scandinavian high. If we do run through it, westerly winds pushing at the moment, that little severe low in the southwest tomorrow. Eventually we go quite westerly for this week, but jet stream shifted to our south, so it's quite cold. And then as we head into the weekend, we do see high pressure built on Scandinavia, and look at that, the winds start to veer in from the east. A huge Scandinavian high. Look at the northern hemisphere view. Huge high pressure towards Russia and Scandinavia, and we are pulling in a very cold easterly wind, or at least on the cusp of bringing a very cold easterly wind in. So yeah, very interesting again, seeing that go to the European view. -10 isotherm is just to our east across Denmark in Germany. Very cold air moving in. 2 meter temperatures widely below freezing across parts of Europe. Again, zoom into Central Europe, look at that, widely below freezing there across on Wednesday night, and that is heading towards the UK with that very cold air mass. So again, ECWF producing a huge Scandinavian high just like it was yesterday. So again, very interesting seeing this today. 3 models, all completely different. Definitely still suggestions of something cold and blocked in the longer term, but nothing concrete at this stage. And this is sort of how it's been for the last week or two. Hints in the longer range, but not quite coming off. We do have a Scandinavian high at the moment, so it is there in the model output. It has happened in reality, but just didn't produce anything majorly cold at this time. It's something to keep an eye on for the start of December. The hints are definitely there, and I definitely do think it is a real possibility. But at this stage, we need to keep an eye on it and see it coming within the 10-day time frame, and all the models get on board with it, and then we'll be able to say the potential is starting to become reality, potentially. If we do go over to the ensembles now, you can see generally around average over the next week, but feeling colder than that because of frost overnight and the windier conditions, and just generally feel like temperature's going to be cold. Towards the end of the month, slightly above average in terms of upper air temperatures. That's when the wind veers slightly more southwesterly, and then as we head into early December, look at the huge volatility. Maybe a quarter of ensemble members now getting towards quite a cold area, sort of -4 and below, but then similarly, still quite a few above average, and some quite mild, and it's sort of a 15 to maybe 20 degree temperature spread here. So yeah, huge volatility in the longer term and remaining still fairly unsettled. So yeah, looking very interesting over the course of the next few weeks. Again, nothing too concrete at this stage, but that blocking and cold potential to start December continues to stay there, and we'll just have to see what happens. Continues being hints for it, but of course we need to wait until it's in the 7 or 10 day time frame and within all the models before we'll be able to start really having a good look at it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you stay safe when you're in the south and the west over the course of tonight and tomorrow, as it's going to potentially be very stormy there, and of course widely do stay safe because there will be some ice issues, and of course we haven't had widespread ice issues so far this autumn, and I do suspect we'll have some this week. So again, it's not too difficult to stay safe out there in a frost and ice, but we haven't had it for many months, like 6-7 months now, so make sure you stay safe out there, and of course I'll see you again for another video soon.